Okay, so let's start the class. Am I audible to all?
Yes, you are.
So let's continue this. So today we have so many tasks, so we will try to finish all the things. I'm opening the that same project which we were working on. Okay, so for today's class, let's create a new report. Right click on the report page and add and click to the new item, which means it will insert a blank report. Name it. Okay, so obviously for this report we need to have some data set and data source. So for that, just click on it, right click, do it quickly. I'll be using the same existing shared data set which we created earlier, the data set 1. No, it's not data order underscore data set. Okay, come back to this and then let's, or you can select this also. Okay. So now we have a data set, which means we have these columns from this data set 1, which we got from that SQL table. And now what we have for today's session is like how to mm, calculate fields, which means this calculated field is similar to the derived columns. So obviously we will do it very quickly, and we'll see next thing like parameter search and charts. So first I will start with this parameter search. So suppose I have a small table. I'm inserting a table into it, and in that table I'm having some simple information. Suppose that I'm having this order ID and let's ship city, let's ship country, and let's take one more column. Direct insert column to right, and drag this right of that. Okay, so we are creating a simple table, and let's see, suppose we have want to create a report where user can search something like he want a report, or he want a simple table that contains only data from USA, or suppose I want a, so that we can provide a user to search on a particular city or particular country. So how to create that kind of report? So just quickly watch my step, and I will show you like how we can do that. So obviously in this we will introduce the parameter. So for that I need to add a parameter. Obviously everywhere I'll be clicking the right click for more options. So click on add parameters, name it something like country, and let it be default, And yes, what will be the data type of that parameter which we are creating here? That will be the text, and allow blank. No, I don't. We let it be default. Click OK. So we are just creating a new parameter and whose data type is text. Click OK. Now when we go to the report, so what does it mean when we create a parameter? So when you go to this preview window, there you will find this country. I think there is spelling mistake, so ignore it. So in our report we will have this kind of bar. So we have just created a country parameter. Here we can provide some inputs. So suppose I'm searching for USA, but we haven't linked it to our report. So let's see what when we click on this view report, this parameter is not linked to this our report, but by default it will give you the result from all countries like USA and all others. But suppose we want to have a situation like we want to search for, we want to have data from USA only. Okay, so how to do that? So go back to this design, and obviously right click on it, parameter properties, and name it country. And we have selected this visible, that's why it is visible in our report. So when we were previewing the report, so click OK. Now we will come back to this data set. We want to link this data set to this, and we want to link this parameter to this data set, which means suppose we are selecting some USA, then the value from that parameter will be passed to this data set, and filtering will work to this data set. So how we will filter the data set? Obviously we want to have data for only USA, not for others. So let's go to it, right click on it, dataset properties. Okay, so here we are having this dataset 1 from this order data set. Rename it some and come here to this filter tab. Add a filter, and here you will provide the information like what you want to do. So what will be the expression? So expression will be like on which column we want to have a filter. So obviously we want to have a filter on this zip country, and how the search will work like obviously that zip country should be equal to some value, so that value we will be providing using that parameter. So click on this FX button, it will open a new window. Here we will select that thing. So this is the expression window. Here you will find the parameters. When you click on this parameter, then it will list down all the parameters which are available to this report. So we have created that country parameter, so select it. Double click on it, and it will populate some code to this expression value. So let it be. Now click OK. So now what we are doing is like we are filtering this data set. Okay, and how the filtering will work? We apply filter on this zip country, which means on this data set we are having a zip country, and on that country we are applying a filter. And how the filter will work, like we will provide that information from this fx, and fx means we will take the input from that parameter and pass it to this filter. Click OK. Go to this preview window. So here we will first provide the parameter input, which means we want for USA. Now click view report. Now it is passing the value from the parameter country to that data set, which means we are having this table only for USA. As you can see here, we are having data from only USA. You can simply type other country also. I don't know if it is there or not. Yes, France is there. So in the same way, we have just created a parameter, and how we are passing value from parameter, which is parameter is nothing. It is a user input of tab. So you can see here like this tab will be there into your report, and from this uh, information, which means we will provide the country name, and when we click on this view reports, then obviously we are passing this information to this data set. And how we did that, we simply, I'm coming to this design mode, and we just created a filter to this data set. So right click on it and go to this data properties, and there you will have this filters tab. Okay, and here we have added a filter. Okay, is it clear like what we are doing?
It is clear.
Okay, so it is a basic introduction about parameter, but most of the time we'll be playing around this parameter and filter.
Okay.
Okay, so here we are providing like providing the exact value. So suppose I want to search something like uh, I don't know the full name of any country, okay, but I want to search on it. Like I want to have, as we have a wildcards, like in where clause, when we work in SQL, there in where clause we provide wildcards using that like percentage something something we can search on that, which means if any rows contains this particular sentence, then return those rows. So those kind of filtering we can work here. So I'm just going to this. So this will work like a search. So how to do this? Just pause myself. I will explain it to you in my time. So here when you will have this thing operator, where we are exactly comparing the country name from the input, but you can search on it, which means to search on this you can have the like, and to work with this you need to provide a perfect syntax for that. Like I need to provide this star. I will do it again. That is finding error here. Let's I will explain that. Okay, so we are having an error to that parameter and that's a property. So what I'm trying to do is like we can have a search. We can simply type on some part of the name and we can search the data set. But I'm unable to find the basic thing here. This is on continuation.
What is that star?
As we do when you write a SQL statement, how you write the like for SQL statement for wildcards.
I
Where
think we use percentage, right?
so I'm a bit confused, but let's say in the SQL.
Okay. I remember like that. Now I'm confused, but
Is there a little, but it's a star something.
underscore and percentage, I
Mm-hmm.
guess.
But it is showing error with this parameter country value count. Oh, there is an
I
error.
guess we should use percentage, Sanjay.
No, there was this thing. Now it will work. There is some extra value here and count. That string was error. Okay. It's not working. So I will type like something FRA. Okay, so it will search all countries which are having this string FRA into their country. Have you got the point? Like I'm searching the country, which means a part of it. And obviously for that wildcard, we write like percentage star and the text from the input. This I'll do. Let me connect to it. Like how we are doing things in that SSRS. So suppose we have something with I don't know Japan is there or not. Okay. There is nothing with this text string, so we can have US here. I will explain like how we are playing with the wildcard like statement. We are having the things from this orders. 1000. Okay, so this is the table which we are using in our report. So here we have this ship country. So how the wildcard we are applying here is where ship country like percentage. So, do you remember the
You need to put in quote first, single quote.
yes. Do we need this percentage? Actually, I'm forgetting it.
Here, what is the purpose of star there?
You don't have to use
This
star, Sanjay, because you can just give in single quotes percentage and let's take you give F. Percentage E something E.
percentage E.
E. Percentage E. That means you will get a country name which is ending with E. Country name ending with E.
Okay,
If you want starting, then you can give F percentage.
No, I want anything from starting and from end. I want anything. That's why I was providing this star, which means it can start with any name, any
Then
letter.
why
Yeah.
again?
It can
Then
end
why
with
again giving France in between? Like why you want to give still France in there in the between?
yes. Exactly. So you got the point. Then again, we are not having value.
Remove the star. Yeah, that star also it will work.
Okay. So here we are having the things. But obviously, you need to provide that starting to that reporting. Okay. So
So
let's
it
move
acts
on.
as a percentage over there.
Hmm, not sure about that, but I have to confirm on that.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, so have you got the point? Like how we are applying the parameter and passing the values from one to another, which means in the end we are applying filters to this data set. Okay, and how we are having this country parameter in our preview, and after that we are passing it to the data set, and where we did nothing, like we just created a filter to our data set, and how the filtering will work, we are just passing value from parameter to the where clause. Okay.
This I have a question actually. So whatever the
Mhm.
filter condition you have given, so
Mhm.
does it store anywhere so that it can be used in other reports?
So we are storing that filter, which means this is string US.
No, it's searching. I mean whatever my knowledge is, like if I compare this feature with the MicroStrategy reporting tool, filter means you are filtering data. I mean, yeah, in the ship country you filter the data for USA or France like that.
Mhm.
But here, I mean, you are just entering again. Uh, are you getting my point? Means
So
which is
this
already
input
there.
value.
Yeah, input value you are providing. What if I want to see only like USA data? Then, whenever I run the report, it will take that filter condition for USA and it will show me only, report for the, ship country USA. So, is
Mhm.
there any different concept for that or only this concept available here?
Means
Um,
you are
Parimal,
trying to
I got
say.
your question actually. What like Sanjay was explaining us is like about parameters. The main advantage of parameters is like you can directly pass it. I mean, like you can directly pass and you can give any value you want. Like manually, you can give any value you want to. The main advantage of parameters itself is like we can give any value we want. Then if it is like he's explaining about parameters and the question what he was asking is, can I only
Mm-hmm.
get the data of USA?
Yeah.
Then there is no use of using parameters over there. You can directly give USA in the code and you can retrieve the value.
Yes, yes. If
An
you want
advantage
to
of parameters, like parameters application itself is like to retrieve data whatever way, whatever thing you want. Like let's take if you want USA data, you're retrieving it. If you want France, you're retrieving it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take if you only want USA data, you don't. There is no need of parameters. There is no use of using like parameters in that. You can directly give USA in some condition, where condition or something, and you can directly retrieve data of USA.
So there I
yes,
need to
exactly.
change the script.
Yes, exactly.
So
I mean,
obviously you need.
what I'm telling is like you don't have to use parameters if you exactly want a data of one particular condition. There is no need of using parameters. The main advantage of using parameters itself is you can use in different ways, like different outputs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm just, I was comparing this feature with the MicroStrategy reporting tool. So there you no need to, change anything else. Like if it is for USA, you can just pull that into some report, then you will get the data for that. So I was just comparing. Yeah,
Uh,
I got now.
No, we are actually dynamically passing the filters.
Yeah, now I got like,
So we are not fixing it, which means we do not have a static data. So we are just passing the filter condition from the front end, and we are fetching the data from the back end, or depending on the requirement, depending upon the search condition.
so dynamically we are entering it, right?
Yes, and how dynamic means we are just providing the search condition during the runtime.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, so if you want like fixed data set, then you can go to this data set, and here you can provide where condition, as you can see here. Okay, so here you can provide something like where condition if you want a where fixed data for US only. So here you can provide that, which means we are pre-filtering the data set.
Okay.
Okay, the next thing is like charts, how to include the chart into our
I
report.
have a question, Sanjay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Parameters passing, you directly explained it without doing it in the query part. My question was like, if I want to retrieve the data for two different countries, in this example, what you explained, you are retrieving data for only one country. I mean, like manually you are entering some one country and you are retrieving the data of one that particular country. Like if you want
Mm-hmm.
to retrieve data from two or three different countries.
Okay, so in that case, you can provide more filters to it, and there you can define how the filtering will work. It will work in OR condition or it will work in AND condition. So for that, if you want to have into a single column itself, then you can. I need to check on it. Okay, but we can provide multiple filters to it. And there is
Can
one
you
more thing.
explain me with one example in the filters? I mean, you said some you have to modify it in the filters, right?
Right. Here you can add more filters to it. Okay. Not country. But before this, you need to provide one more parameter. But there is one more thing. There is an option like providing multiple values, allow multiple values. So we need to check like how to adjust our requirement. If we can pass multiple values from this, or with multiple values. So for that, we need to have a drill down list. Okay, so we will predefine the US, which means we will create a new data set here. For that, I have a task for that, which means you can have list down parameters. Okay, so if you want to use this, which means we will have this thing, list down parameters, which means we will predefine it. Okay, and we will select more options from here, like for USA, France, and whatever you want, like more filters on that same thing. So you can provide on that also. So either you, if the dependency is like if you are searching on a same column, which means here we are searching on a same column, which means for country. In that country column, we are providing two conditions. One will be the US and second will be the France. We want rules for US and France. So obviously we will do it like we will prepare a drill down. What we call it as a list down parameters. Okay, so we will send the unique values from this country ship country, and we will pull it to this drop down, and from here we will select multiple things, and then we will be passing it to the audience. We want to do me now. or else I will prepare a good set on it and I will solve it next class.
That's fine. That's fine. But that is the
Okay.
only way where you can, I mean, like you said some list down parameters, right? Is that the only way you can do it, or you can directly retrieve like value from data from different values what we enter?
There is something like passing parameters to the data set queries. I think where we can pass like where condition and question mark. For that, I need some time to prepare a demo on that.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
But if it is like a query part, it would be much more easier, right? I mean, like directly in having you can give in operator and you can directly give a parameter. I mean, you can pass a parameter.
Yes, we can pass the parameter to the data set itself. So, but let's finish the first other parts like what are the different options available here. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay.
Okay, so next I will do, like, I have noted your point. Okay, so I think tomorrow I will explain you all about this. Okay.
Okay, okay.
I will give you a brief introduction about this deployment of the reports. So how we will use the end result, which obviously we'll be designing reports here, and how we will deploy our reports to the report server, which means that will be the browser end. Okay, so let's quickly finish that point. So from this, okay, you people are there. So when you click on this report sample, okay, so here you will find, first go to this properties and where you want to deploy, and there is one point to note here is like target server URL, which means on which server you want to deploy it. Okay, so how will you get this thing? So for that you need to go to this, there is a program where we can have report manager. SQL Server reporting configuration thing is there. Where is that application file? Oh, no, sorry. Reporting configuration is there. And it will load as an admin. So when you have successfully installed all instances of the which means SSES, RS and all, so from here you will find this web service URL and this report manager URL. Okay, so this is the link for our server, which means where we will deploy our project, which means this report server. And when you will be browsing this report, so for that you will be using this uh, report manager URL. Okay, so this thing you need to provide, which means from where you will find this deployment properties thing, which means target server URL. You need to paste the same thing from this window, web service URL. Okay, so I have simply copied it to my deployment. Okay, so let's minimize it. Click OK. And obviously when you feel any error, so you need to change this port server. So this TCP port, by default it is 80, but if you find any difficulty while deploying, so simply make some another thing. And I have tried this, so my machine is working now. Earlier I was facing the same error, like I was unable to find the server. So I found some article which was saying like just provide this 8080 TCP port. It's a free port on our machine. So that after this, this deployment is working. So right click on this project and click on deploy. As you can watch, like here we are having green bar. So machine is slow, so give us 2 minutes so that it can deploy the whole project to that server. Come on, freeze. So do not worry about my antivirus is active here. So I have no other option. I have to wait. Okay. So you can watch the output window. Could not connect to the report server. Okay, so it is saying like I do not have the permission, so I need to run this Visual Studio as an administrator. So give me a 1 second, I will reopen this project. But before this, save it. I'm opening the same project. So I'm the same thing. Right click on the project, then try to deploy. Now it is deploying. As the admin has all the permission, so I run the Visual Studio as an admin. So we have deployed it. Now let's see where it is. How to browse those reports. Click on this, or you can copy it to your browser. So when I click on it, my browser will open here, and it should open that. So I need to provide my alias here. or if you want to have, I'm just opening the Internet Explorer as an admin because admin have default all permission. So this window is running as an administrator, so I will try to copy the same URL from here. Okay, so this was the window for administrator. So for other users, I was not having on other windows was running as a normal thing. So in this windows, we are not having the access to our report server. So I'm minimizing it. So this window is running as administrator. So by default, admin has all access. So we deployed our reports to this server. So let's see these reports are here or not. Click on it. Okay, so we created these three reports on that project. So we were having these three reports, report first, copy, and report two. So you can, now we are browsing the reports into our this browser, and let's see what we created to this report two. I'll try to close other apps. Okay, so we created something here for that we edited that search thing. So that's why we are not, this report will not work because we altered that parameter settings and all. So I'm coming back here, I will try to revert it back. I'm reverting the things. review it. Okay, so this Australia is coming like because there is a string with US into this Australia. So let's deploy the things again. To this browser. Go back. Now it should have value there. It's taking time. So we are having the same result into our browser also. So we have created the report, not a very big report, but yes, we are on the end and gate like where we will browse the report. So this is how we can create a simple report and how and we will deploy it to our server. Which means earlier you were previewing the report inside our Visual Studio, but when you deploy the things to your report server, then you can browse the same report using your browser. Obviously, in this window, we are not having the things because we are having some access issue. But by default, admin has all the access. So I ran that Explorer as an admin, and now we are having the access on those reports, and we are having the same result into our browser also. So now let's quickly go back to our Visual Studio and now try to insert a chart to it. Let's close this window. Go to the design tab. Drag it somewhere. Right click here and how to insert a chart. Simply go here and click on it. Let's insert this pie chart. Click OK. Drag it to the top corner. And here when you click on it, it will give you the window. This window, which means how to provide values to it. So click on this plus icon, and here you can provide like orders, which means I want count of orders. So, but by default it is taking sum of orders. So you can change this aggregation. Click on this aggregation, and from here you can select this count. And what will be the details, which means we are having the values, but on how you will separate these values. So click on it. And suppose I want ship via. Okay, so now preview it. Before this, you need to provide. Okay, so now you can see like there is a ship via is something like the name itself there was with 1, 2, and 3. So verify it earlier. Ship via, what is the value inside that? ship via. Okay, so in this column we are having this 1 2 3 and in these numeric values. So for that we are having here, like in this report we are having the same thing, which means one belongs to this blue region and in the same way. So we obviously this is not clear, but we want some values to it. So quickly go back to this design and click on right click on the same and show data levels. Now it will plot the values also. Come back to this preview. So adding chart and all thing is not difficult. Okay, so now we are having numbers to it. In the same way, we can deploy it to the server, and there also we can browse it. But come back to the next. So next is the linked reports. So I think that will take time. I should continue it to the next class. Because of we did not completed too much in today's session, but yes, we know how to deploy the reports and how to do basic things with these parameters charts. And this calculated field is nothing. I will cover this. So suppose we want a new column based on the some calculations, so simply right click on the right click on the data set. Before this, go to this design tab, right click and add a calculated field, and here you can provide conditions, which means add, provide some name, and you can have expression here like depending on your requirement what you want to derive a column, how you want to. So from this data set I want like on this where is freight, I want twice value of the freight. Double click on it. I don't want the sum, so remove these parts. Just take the value, which means this will refer to this freight column, and multiply it with 2. I'm doing nothing much, but I'm multiplying it by 2. Click OK. Click OK. So now we are having a test value here, and let's see are we having a twice value of the freight or not. So right click on it, insert a column to the right, and drag this chart. Let's preview it. Okay, so derived column is working like we did nothing, like we are just multiplying the freight value with 2 and we are having that test as a derived. So if you have some more complex things, so you can simply right click on the data set and from there you can derive a column to it. Let's see next thing which we have in like conditional formatting. When we will be designing this SSRS report, so there will be a huge requirement for the conditional formatting. So how we will do that conditional formatting? So select this, and from this background, which means we want something like when the some value of this test value is greater than some 50 or something, I want to change the color for this, change the background for this cell value. So how to do that? You can simply go here, and there is an expression tab, which means when you simply select the cell and from this property window from the background color and from this expression, you will have this expression window. Here you can provide if function, so delete it. And how to do that? Operators, I will find that if function. So you will find that if function into this program flow, double click on it, you will have this. Obviously you can have the example like how to use this if function. Okay, so let's select this column from this data set, double click on it. I don't want the sum, I want the value of it. So if the value of this field is greater than 50, I want to change its color. And what we want, like two part of it as we do, I think it is similar to that next function or Excel formula. Go to this constraint and how to provide the color. You can provide it as a green, and if this condition does not satisfy, let it be red. Close the bracket for if, click OK. Now we will wait. So now you can see like how to change the background, which means we are doing some conditional formatting. If the value is greater than 50, which means we are having the red, and if it is low than this, sorry, if greater than 50, which means the background will be green, and if it is low, then it will be like this. So in the same way, you can change the color for the font also. Simply select it, and from this property window, you can have the font color also. You can go to this, and you can simply write expression for the font also. So tomorrow I will try to have this list down parameter, and obviously that how to use this store procedures, how to call the store procedures in using this SSRS, and how to pass the parameters from this report to the store procedures. I think that will be answer to your and that will be the answer for the Priyanka's questions, like how to pass the parameter from the report to the SQL statements. Okay, and after that we will have this linked report, which means when we click on the some part of this uh, chart, which means when suppose when I click on this blue region, when we click on it, then it will obviously navigate us to some other report, okay, to some other window. So how to do that? You can have simply right click on this, and from this series properties you can have this action window. From here you can have these options, like you can go to this some bookmark or to URL, or we can open a new report. Here we can provide uh, path of the next report, which means we can list down, like when we click on that, we can assign to which report, which means that when we click on this blue region, then we can enable, which means we are enabling it. The action of that blue icon will change. Blue icon will navigate this thing to this. Suppose I'm taking this first report, and from there I can pass parameter from this existing to the next. So we will do these kind of work, which means we call it as a linked report. Which means so those things we will cover tomorrow. And something is next thing will be the sub reports, linked reports, and this basic map, and obviously the how to use the procedures, which means how to pass the parameter value to the procedures. So is there any doubt for in today's session? We're not doing too much, but obviously we are covering the basic ones. You people are there?
Yeah, Sanjay,
Yes.
no doubts for me.
Okay, so actually we are covering the basic things, so obviously we will go deep into it. Okay. So tomorrow I will try to cover the Priyanka's question, which means passing parameters to the query itself. And yes, there are two more things like how to work on the linked reports and
Sanjay, my question was not exactly passing parameters from the, query. My question was like passing, like you said, right? In our query, like we did one selecting of one value. I'm asking if I want to select two more than two or three values.
okay, so for that we have a task like how to have this list down parameters.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. From there you can when we have this thing, which means when you go to this browser, when you go to this preview, so there will be option like drop down menu will be there. So when you
Yeah,
click
yeah,
on
yeah.
this drop down, from there you can select multiple things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so from there itself you can have multiple, like we want USA, France, and other countries. So you can select from those, and you can have the report.
Okay.
Okay. So in next two class we will try. I will try to cover the all things because I have to complete the things by this weekend itself. Okay.
Okay.
We have two more sessions, so I will try to have this tomorrow and day after tomorrow. And yes, if you people are available on Saturday, okay. So there is a new thing which means I can introduce you people about Power BI. There is a very good tool about reporting. Are you people are interested for that?
I didn't get you, Sanjay. What are you talking about?
So there is a new tool which means for reporting thing we are having this SSRS. So the main work of this SSRS is to generate reports. Okay. So there is a similar tool, not a similar. There is a very good tool from the Microsoft itself, and we call it as a self-service BI. Means the user itself can create reports. There is
Okay.
no requirement for the developers. So for that, you can search like what is Power BI in between. Okay, so you can say like my main expertise was on the Power BI. From last 2 years, I'm following this. Okay, so as an add-on, I want you to know the basics of the Power BI because itself, this Power BI is now included in MSBI.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this Power BI is called as a self-service business intelligence. So this is a one powerful tool where you can have like you can have ETL, you can have analysis, you can have reporting. So it contains all three parts. Okay, so I'll be happy to introduce about it. Okay, so there is nothing big in this Power, but yes, it is a very good tool because are you people are familiar with Tableau
Yes.
or a Qlik view or Click view?
No.
Okay, so this thing is very similar to the Tableau. Okay, because this is something to do with reporting, so I'll be interested to meet you people. Okay, so see you on tomorrow's class, and I'll try to cover more things tomorrow. Okay, so the main things is left with the linked reports, sub reports, and other charts like how to use gauges and metrics. Okay, and how to insert map to our reports. Okay, so these things
Okay.
are left, so I will try to cover on tomorrow. And my today's aim was to how to use this deployment, how to access the same report using this browser. Okay, so I think for Kavita, I think when you open this, okay, when you
Mm-hmm.
open this reporting services configuration manager, you will have the same issue, okay, which I was facing earlier. Just go to
Mm-hmm.
it web services URL, okay, and try
Mm-hmm.
to have this. By default, it is 80. So try to have it 880 one more time, okay. So make it
Okay.
8080. So it's a
Okay.
four type of work. It's something to do with networking, but I just found an article which was saying to do these things, and after this I was not having any error while I was deploying my reports. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So for tomorrow, I will. So let's meet tomorrow at the same time, 2:45. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Bye bye all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Priya.
Bye-bye.